Dear Smyrna friends, this message is being recorded especially for you on the first day of the new year, 2023. Over the course of Advent and through Christmas, we have contemplated the sacred in everything. Through a worship series designed by Dr. Marcia McPhee and inspired by the quote from Father Richard Rohr's book, The Universal Christ, which states, "God loves things by becoming them." Throughout the worship series, we have experienced time, people, places, others, and ourselves as God's holy love reflected and incarnate in the world. Because of God's action of love toward us, we are also called to love in action, to the sacred doing of alleviating suffering wherever we can. We are invited to dedicate ourselves in this new year, as stated by Dr. Marcia, to sacred acts of justice and mercy, bringing grace to a hurting world, reflecting the sacred in all we do. Today, I acknowledge within the container of sacred community, there were events in our personal lives in 2022 that changed us. Diagnoses, surgeries, losses of siblings, spouses, parents, friends, pets, our children's spouses. Some of us lost our homes, the ability to leave home, or the ability to see or hear or remember or walk as well as we could have even just a year ago. As we enter the new year, grief is still with us. COVID is still with us collectively. The war Russia is waging in Ukraine is still with us. The devastating effects of a worsened and worsening climate crisis are still with us. What can we not carry into the new year with us? What can we leave behind? Are there grudges or resentments we can leave behind? A refusal to ask for help? How about attitudes and habits that don't support whatever intentions we have for the new year? What attitudes and habits might we take on that will support whatever we want to manifest in our lives or help manifest in the world in 2023? What are we glad and grateful to carry with us into the new year? Supportive family and friends, the ability to laugh, art and music that wow and inspire us, the companionship of pets, the ability to ask for help, a faith community to comfort and to challenge us to be the visible compassion of God on earth. Richard Rohr says in his book, The Universal Christ, Christians are meant to be the visible compassion of God on earth, more than those who are going to heaven. Christians are meant to be the visible compassion of God on earth. What story are we going to write for ourselves, personally, or for Smyrna UCC, and or the worlds we participate in and care about in 2023? In the poem by Amanda Gorman I read this morning in worship entitled War, What Is It, Good? She wrote, "Writing our stories is an essential service. It is how we go to war. Most importantly, it is how we end it." Smyrna friends, as 2023 begins, let's commit to being the visible compassion of God on earth. Let's commit to writing and sharing our stories and taking an interest in others' stories, especially those who are fighting for their lives in some way that we don't have to, or for some reason that we could help alleviate. This year, let's make good news. Let's be the good news. I encourage you to find a source of inspiration that will help recharge your spirit all year long with the hope, peace, joy, and love that came down on Christmas. We are invited to dedicate ourselves in this new year to sacred acts of justice and mercy, bringing grace to a hurting world, reflecting the sacred in all we do. You can pause or stop watching now to contemplate this invitation and perhaps journal an intention that you have or an attitude or state of grace you want to carry with you into the new year. If you'd like to hear some good news stories from 2022, keep listening. I pulled some examples of good news stories from 2022 that were collected and reported throughout the year on the website Good, Good, Good. The organization says about itself, we share the best real good news, not just feel good news. Reported in February, conversion therapy was officially banned in Canada. Also reported in February, after purchasing the land in July 2020, Save the Redwoods League officially transferred ownership of 523 acres of redwood forest in California to a group of 10 native tribes. The League's purchase of the land for $3.55 million was funded by Pacific Gas and Electric, who has been behind multiple wildfires in the region. PG&E also contributed a $1.13 million endowment to support ongoing stewardship of the area. Reported in March, a synagogue in the small town of Uman, Ukraine, converted its basement into a temporary bomb shelter open to anyone and everyone looking for a safe place to hide from Russian troops and air raids. Reported in May, after seeing both the news stories surrounding the national baby formula shortage and his neighbors struggling to find food for their babies, one restaurant owner in North Texas wanted to find a way to help. While Our Place restaurant owner Benji Arslanovsky didn't need any for his own children, he looked into purchasing cases of baby formula through his restaurant supplier so he could help out families that did need it. He was able to purchase 6 cases of Gerber formula and then proceeded to hand them out for free to people in the community who needed it. Reported in June, 5 years into working at Farmington Correctional Center, Chaplain Kaylin McAllister began to notice a pattern. A few weeks before they were released, inmates would visit her office with a familiar refrain: I don't even want to get out because I won't be able to get a job. Ms. McAllister would offer support, but soon realized counseling from inside the prison walls was only a partial solution. Change was needed outside too. When she retired, she saw her opening. On my way out the door, I said, I'm going to do something to solve this. In 2015, McAllister opened Laughing Bear Bakery in St. Louis, a nonprofit business where a criminal record is required to land the job. Also reported in June, a Flint, Michigan pastor built a laundromat at his church to help families experiencing hygiene poverty. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, North Flint's Good Church participated in food distribution events at surrounding apartment complexes, and it was during that time that lead pastor Leo Robinson II and his wife Mio Robinson learned of the area's need for a laundromat. Reported in July, stepping up their climate action, retirees and elders are marching on big banks to protest their fossil fuel investments. Third Act is a national climate justice organization and movement Bill McKibben launched in September of 2021, inspiring elders to fight for a planet that is just, safe, and abundant for future generations. Also reported in July, Burundi, one of the smallest countries in Africa, has just 6.6% of its original forests remaining. The legacy of a brutal civil war in which forests weren't spared the violence inflicted by either side. Today, as Mangabe reports, the formerly warring factions are working together on a reforestation project launched by the country in 2018. It's been hailed as a fantastic initiative with over 150 million trees planted already. A local to us example reported in October, North America's first utility-scale renewable energy plant combining wind, solar, and storage opened in Oregon. It has the capacity to power 100,000 homes, and when operating at maximum capacity, can produce over half the power that was generated by Oregon's last coal plant, which was demolished in August. Since the facility can store energy on site, it's addressing a key challenge in the clean energy transition, not relying on fossil fuels to fill the energy demand when the wind isn't blowing and the sun isn't shining. And finally, reported in November, a new mental health helpline specifically for farmers and ranchers began rolling out across the U.S. The launch of the AgriStress helpline for farmers and ranchers comes at a time of renewed attention on mental health resources, particularly with the recent launch of the 988 National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. While farmers and ranchers in need can always call that lifeline, they might meet providers who don't understand the unique challenges they face, keeping the ranch in the family, operating on slim financial margins, battling waves of grasshoppers, or watching crops wither during drought. The AgriStress helpline is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by professionals trained to work with members of agricultural communities. For more good news stories, you can go to www.good-good.co/articles/good-news-2022. If you decide to contemplate what good news headlines we might write or might be written about us in 2023, and you send me an email with a sample of your contemplation to rev.catherineallard@gmail.com, or if you email me your intention for the new year, I will respond with a personalized blessing for you. Here's to a good year of reflecting the sacred in all we do. God's peace and power be with you.